What's that?
You don't get a break. We have to keep going.
Oh, we keep going?
Yeah, we keep going. Yeah.
We're going straight into gaming.
Finally. I've been waiting for this for like 2 weeks. Because I have no idea what happened at E3. So I have questions. I know
you've been waiting another year.
No, I know you've probably got a bunch of stuff written down. I don't give a shit. You have to answer my questions now. Number 1.
Fire your questions.
Damn it, I can't remember. Star Wars.
Tell
me about Star Wars.
They showed off, EA showed off the new Star Wars game.
Yeah.
They showed off, what were they showing off?
Did it have lightsabers?
Cooperative play.
Okay.
What did they show off on it? It was a little bit of the single player, but mainly multiplayer. So they just had like some of the maps. It was an outdoor map with some lush greenery, but you can get on all these like little different vehicles. The coolest part about it was you're still there, yeah?
Yeah, I'm just taking off my pants. I'm just getting ready for this. Tell me about the vehicles, Alex. Tell me about them real slowly.
No, all the Star Wars worlds come together. So all the episodes. So you can be Darth Maul, and then you can be Rey from the new ones as well.
Oh, okay. So it's like it's not just like one. It's all the movies. It's everything.
It's all of them mixed together, and you can be Darth Vader, and that's just like
that's awesome.
Those are like special people, but actually during the press conference they showed off Darth Maul quite a lot, and he had like obviously the dual lightsaber things going on, and he's like a special guy on your team. So when you pick up that power, I think you become him, or you can press a key and then you become him, and he could take a lot of hits and stuff. But like they've upped the visuals of the game as well. Like it's built on the Frostbite engine, which is the same as Battlefield and the Battlefront from last year.
Okay,
but
the World War I one.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, but they've upped the visuals. Like again, like it's starting to look better in the bloody films.
Yeah.
But the fact it's got the original music and everything, and that you can play with all these special characters. Because I think that's what people are criticizing in the first one was, I want to play as Darth Maul, or the new films are out. Like, why can't I be Rey? You know, I just watched that film. Like, why can't I be her? So they're really hitting the nail on the head because they know that people are going to be watching a new Star Wars film because it comes out around the same time. But they know there's going to be people that are going to go back and watch some of the originals and stuff. So to be able to select your character and say like, yeah, I just saw this film, I want to be this guy, is going to be sweet. And they've introduced a couple of new game modes as well, but they didn't focus as much on the single player. They just showed us some cooperative stuff, but mainly multiplayer. And I think they had
the single player is the Return of the Jedi story, isn't it? From the trailer. There was that the black squatted like special team, and they look at the Death Star blowing up. Yeah, that was it. And then it takes off her helmet. And it's a girl and.
Yeah, that's a single player. I don't know too much about it. All I know is like it is following its own storyline, but within the film story.
I've heard that it's canon. So I've heard that the story in this single player is canon, in that it'll tie into the movies.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
I don't know if it'll change anything in the movies, but whatever happens in this is an official Star Wars story.
Right.
So maybe they go off and, I don't know, kick Luke Skywalker in the balls or something, and that's like, that's why Luke Skywalker has a limp. Or whatever. And did they say how many people can play it? Like, what's the multiplayer levels?
It's still 64. I know they get asked that a lot because as soon as you introduce like 100 or 200 people, it's really hard to manage the game. Because can you imagine just spawning and then suddenly you just die straight away, and you spawn and you just die because there's so many people on the map.
I'm pretty shit at the game though, so that could happen with like 4 people.
Well, that's the thing. Like, that's why maybe you should play 16 or 32, because when you play a 64 multiplayer map, they really do think about like all the places that you can spawn and where like spawn, come back to life and stuff. But so like some of the maps are built for 16 players, and they've designed them just for that. But I don't think they wanted to go above 64, and also like even the hardware, like the new Xbox and stuff. Maybe that can handle it, but like the PlayStation or the Switch can't or something. So not that it's coming out on the Switch.
And you said there's vehicles on the level, so like how much integration is there? Because I remember playing the PlayStation one we used to play all the time, and you could have some guy could be in the chopper, whatever, like the starships, and one guy could be on the ground. On different ones, they'd have tanks or whatever. But I don't remember if they had all three. I don't think they ever had soldiers, tanks, and planes.
Oh yeah, they've got the X-Wings, the TIE Fighters, all of those guys. They've got the tanks. In this new one, they had
all on the same map.
All on the same map, yeah. They had some of the robots from Clone Wars. In fact, you could be. I think one of the fights they were showing, like everyone was like one of the Clone War robots. And then like Boba Fett was in there and stuff. And then suddenly you saw Darth Maul. Then you saw Rey. So it's like, shit, this is awesome. They're mixing all the worlds together. And then like it just visually looked awesome. They've got all the original soundtracks, so it's gonna be a real good treat.
That is awesome. That is great.
That was one of their that was like their finisher of the show. But what they also did was they had a 64-player match live in the studio, and they played it for like 3 hours straight.
Wow.
So they just had it live streaming, and people were just watching it for 3 hours straight. And then you can just basically learn about the game. So that was.
Although I heard
that was pretty sweet.
This is the one article I read of the whole week, because I think it popped up on one of my feeds. Was that EA's conference was a bit of a shit show.
To be honest, like not many of them were that great. Like EA's conferences are always a bit cheeseballs, and like they've always got their FIFAs and their Maddens and stuff. But people don't like EA just to start with. They don't like them. They just don't like them as a company.
We love your games, huge. Just don't touch us.
But like even then, like the games people love. So this Battlefront and Battlefield, people love them, but it's DICE, like a Swedish company, and EA just bought them. So EA just bought a really good company, and now they operate under EA. But people, they just don't like them because they keep buying these companies out and then like destroying the soul of the company because people leave. But they're redeeming themselves a little, and they're doing that with like Battlefront and Battlefield. But I mean, they criticize like a lot of their sports games, like they just come out every year, and it's just like, oh, now the jerseys have like this fabric physics. The court is.
I know. We grew up with that every year. EA were just they're such pricks.
You and your FIFA, like you used to buy FIFA a lot, didn't you?
Yeah, it's like every year you get the new FIFA, and you're like, God, just update something.
Yeah, I know.
I don't care if the grass looks like it's 3 inches longer or whatever.
Exactly.
I want the game to be better, you cheap bastards.
They did show off. So last year, FIFA had a single player, and you played a footballer called Alex Hunter, and apparently that went down really well. People loved the single player to it. So the new one, FIFA 18, is going to continue that story, and it's got like Ronaldo in the game as well. So the Ronaldo is like an actor in the game who is competing against you, Alex Hunter. But so that seems kind of interesting. And they've also put a single player on Madden. So Madden's huge. So that's now got its own single player. Whereas before it was just, I'm going to go in and have a game against my buddy or play like a simulated tournament.
Oh, yeah. They started that with FIFA. Yeah. You could you play your career and all that as like you pick your position. But
it's pretty sweet that they got these single players now, and you can go through like the FIFA one. I played a demo of it last year, and it was like he's in the trials for Manchester United, and if you don't get through, then you actually get bumped down, and you have to play like in another league and stuff. Or if you do win, then you go into Manchester United, but you're on the bench and you've got to prove yourself, and then it plays out a storyline. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to play much except for maybe receiver and quarterback in Madden, right?
Oh yeah, well yeah.
You're just going to play the blocker. You're like, okay, block.
Yeah, that's all I'm going to do.
End of the game. End of the game. Okay. Next move, block. And then, yeah.
Yeah. The other one, the standout one for me for EA is a game called A Way Out. And it's a prison break game. And this is the really cool part about it. It's only cooperative. You can only play the game cooperative.
Oh yeah, I like that.
So, and you and your buddy, it's got a good kind of story narrative to it. I think it's built on like that Battlefield engine, that Frostbite, so it looks great. But you've got to work together. To start with, you're not even in the same cell, but like you've got to like they take the toilet off, and then there's like a hole behind it, kind of thing, and you climb through. But then you meet your buddy. And then you've got to use, like, both of you have got to use your weight or something to get up against a wall and then lift the other guy up, and then little scenarios like that. So I don't know how else it's going to pan out, but the cool thing is you can't just turn your PlayStation on in the morning and say, like, I'm going to have a quick game. You've got to actually set up something with your buddy or play, with someone online.
Yeah. So, it sounds like a video game version of an escape room.
It really is, yeah. So, and then eventually, from the looks of the things in the trailer, you get out of that prison, but then you're on the run. So it's basically cooperative Prison Break. But it looked awesome, and the story and everything was it's like these two brothers or something. But it looked really interesting, and the whole cooperative only part stood out. And apparently, it was getting some good reviews from people, like from what some people got to play it, and they said it plays really great. So that was kind of EA.
That's a nice change from, like you said, like the big exclusives, and you have all your FIFAs and Maddens. Like, oh, that's probably one of those little indie companies they bought up, I guess.
It could have been. That's the thing. Yeah, someone who it's one of their smaller companies in there playing it. So, but that was pretty cool from EA. Like, it was okay. The conference. Everyone was looking forward to Battlefront 2, to be honest, and that was their ending.
That's all I cared about.
So yeah. But it was nice to see a way out, the cooperative one from it.
So what was the biggest surprise of the weekend? Like, what was the thing was there anything that made people go, "Whoa, holy crap, didn't see that"?
There was a couple of surprises. There was actually there was another company, Bethesda. So they actually bought ID Software, the guys that made Doom. They bought them like 5 years ago, but they own Doom and they own Fallout. But they're bringing out Doom VR. So they're bringing out Doom, the new Doom, which is great.
Holy
but
crap.
the entire game is in VR, and you teleport around like that Robo Recall one that we were playing. That's how you teleport. But like that, it's a scary game, but it's also got a lot of action in it and chainsaws and whatever. So that was quite a surprise, Doom VR, and they showed off a lot of Fallout VR. So I like that they were hitting the VR stuff, because you need big companies like that to really push like the visuals, because it's easy to kind of throw someone in a room with a couch and like a little TV and say, hey, you're in VR, you can watch Netflix in VR, and they're like, oh, that's impressive. But when you get these big companies saying like, you can play Doom, the new Doom in VR, and chainsaw someone in half and then go up here and look at the vistas on Mars, they're going to be like, oh my god, this is like, I really feel like I'm there. It's crazy. So that was a big highlight.
I just the thing about that Doom is I don't know how the mechanics will work, because Doom is so fast paced.
It is, and even in the demo that they showed, it looked a little awkward, because when you teleport, like even in Robo Recall, the one, like you kind of teleport, and then you got to look around to kind of get your whereabouts.
Yeah, it's disorientating.
It felt a little bit like that. That's how they're doing it, but maybe it's possible that they're slowing the game down just a tad to help with the VR-ness, but maybe because when you're in VR, you won't notice it is, because by the time you've kind of looked and found where you are, you're ready to shoot, and then they're a little bit slower, possibly.
Would that just work if you have like your right hand has a gun model, like they give you a little gun thing when you buy the game, and then your left hand just has the little control pad to make you run?
The only thing with that is people don't like to run like that because of motion sickness, because you're running and you're not actually running. So a lot of people get motion sickness, but a lot of developers choose 50-50. Some do like that, and they feel like you can move around a lot more, but you lose your audience because a lot of people feel sick. So not everyone has the VR legs for it. So I think you and I, we were quite used to it. Like, though that space one really made me like feel quite queasy, whereas you were just like, I'm grabbing hold of this, I'm doing this,
What about like a release button? So like you're constantly walking, but then you hold the button, you stop walking, you can turn around.
You could do, but then it becomes a bit like Time Crisis, where you're not on rails, but it's a little bit like if you're always stopping. I feel like you've got more control if you.
No. What I mean is, your avatar in the game is set up that they're constantly going to walk forward.
No, yeah, that's what I mean.
But you press stop, and you can turn and face a different direction. Let go of stop, and you'll start walking that way. So it's still full control. It's just that instead of having to press a forward button, it just gives you a standard like walking motion.
The only thing is then like maybe your right hand stick when you're shooting, maybe because you're always walking forward and you've got to hold on to it, you can never have like a left hand gun, or you can never interact with your left hands because you've got to always use that to go and stop. Or
I
don't know. It's tricky, man. Like it's definitely a flaw because I mean the ultimate thing is to have a 360 treadmill, and they're out there as well. But who's buying one of those for their living room? And they probably cost a bomb as well. They probably cost like $2,000 just to have one.
I really want to see. Yeah, I want to see a good game set in like a starship. We went over this. We keep going over this.
I know. Yeah, I think this is your ultimate game, isn't it?
I'm just thinking to try and deal with the way VR has its limitations. It can't quite compete with the kind of games people play nowadays, because you can't play Battlefield in VR because you can't run, you can't crouch. Like your physicality is kind of limited.
Yeah,
that's why I think like that Star Trek. Was it?
Bridge Crew.
Bridge Crew. I think that's a good idea. I think that's a way of going about it.
The cool thing with that one is I don't think you need to walk around so much in it, and you might not even walk around at all. You're just at your station, you know?
Yeah. So if you just kind of take that, but make the environment you're in a little bit more interactive, you got to look around, you got to deal with stuff.
Yeah.
I think that could be a good way of like just getting people in until you figure out the bloody motion dynamics, or you make really cheap 360 treadmills.
Yeah, exactly. It might come to that. You never know, unless they crack this 360 movement. And you never know. Like a big company like this, Bethesda, they might have cracked it. They might have got even better. I think the best movement I've seen is that Robo Recall, because you're telling it where you teleport, but if you move the stick, you're also telling it what direction you want to face, which is pretty awesome. So you never know. Maybe they've evolved that even further in the Doom, and it might even be more intuitive. Yeah. So maybe it's like your head. You just have to turn your head to move it or something. But I think it's exciting. It's very hard to talk about VR because there's so few people have used it and know what we're talking about. But the fact that they're bringing these big games like Doom and Fallout is a big thing. I think for them.
Next month we'll try and do some more reviews. Video reviews, and just so people can see the VR games as we're playing them.
Yeah, there's one that I want to do for sure. Is I want to just record you playing the Batman game, because it's very quick. Actually, it's not very long, and just your reaction to it, because you get to put on the bat suit and things like that. And then also there's
hang on, I gotta take off my pants again. I'm getting excited.
Take off your pants. And there's also another one I wanted to talk about, but I put that in the movie section, so you'll hear about that later on.
Oh, you big tease, you.
Tease.
All right, so the best thing then that was a good surprise. What was a shitty surprise? Give me a low point, Al. Tell me who screwed up. Point. Who needs a slap in the face?
Yeah, who needs a slap in the face? Exactly. You know what? I'd say Ubisoft, the guys that do like Far Cry.
I thought you were going to say me.
Well, I mean, every week. Every week for you. Yeah. Now, Ubisoft for me were boring. We got a new Assassin's Creed, which it's in Egypt. It's like, okay, sure. I'm just bored of those games. And then they have this Far Cry 5, which is just like, I don't know. It just looks like the other ones. And then they've got this deal with Nintendo, and they're doing. I don't know if you know about their like weird rabbit dudes. Like they've got these like crazy.
Hopefully, this is a game. This isn't like some weird, disturbing news story you're going to talk about.
They've got these little characters, and they call them like rabbits or something, and they're just like these nutcase little rabbits, like psycho rabbits.
Oh yeah, we played that game on the Wii.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, you know the ones.
Yeah.
So they've got a partnership with Mario.
The one where you play the Wii and just look like you're jerking off all the time. Yeah, I get it.
I got that picture. Yeah, I think it was you, wasn't it?
It probably was me.
And so it's Mario and these rabbits, and it's like a turn-based little action game for the Switch, which is really interesting. So the fact that they're mixing Mario and like the Princess and Luigi in with these guys, but it's like a little turn-based game where you say like, Mario, you move here, and then my next step I'm going to be like jump over the wall, and then my next step is you shoot him. It's like a really weird scenario, but I don't know. Their whole conference is a bit boring. Like I didn't even take anything out of it and say like, oh, I'm going to buy that. Whereas like the Doom, I'm like, I'm probably going to buy that Doom. I'm definitely going to play that cooperative game. We're going to play Battlefront 2. But Ubisoft, like, I didn't take any game out of it and think, oh, this is going to be awesome. The new Assassin's Creed was their biggest one, but I don't care about the Egypt setting, and I've gone around in a bow and arrow. I've played Horizons, so then they weren't introducing anything like groundbreaking for me. And then the Xbox. good old Xbox. This is one thing that kind of pissed me off. Well, two things that pissed me off is, so they do have a new Xbox. Do you know what it's called? It's called the Xbox One X.
What? It's not called Scorpio.
It's not called Scorpio.
That's it. They get a slap in the face.
Yeah, they get a slap in the face, and it is
Xbox One box. What? I don't even remember it. Xbox One space box 34. What?
Yeah, pretty much.
Xbox One X.
Yeah, and you got Xbox One S as well, which is the one right now. That's like the slim one. But then you got Xbox One X.
Xbox One X.
It's super confusing. And guess what? It's $4.99 US. So that means it's going to be $5.99 Canadian, possibly more after tax. You're talking about close to $700 in Canada for a console, which, funny enough, doesn't play any unique games. You could just buy an Xbox One S for $250.
I could buy an iMac keyboard for that.
Oh yeah, one of those new keyboards.
Yeah, and $700 for so. I guess it comes down to, is it worth it? Like, did they show the 4K against what PlayStation 4K is? And you're just like, oh my God, it's like looking through a dumpster full of trash, and the other one looks like Van Gogh painting on top of a mountain.
They did. That's a good way of putting them. They did show that. They did say like these are true 4K, and it's got this, it's got that. The trouble is, and this is what I'm reading, and this is kind of how I feel as well, is they might have gone wrong, because I'm not sure how many people care about 4K. Because I don't have a 4K TV. You don't have a 4K TV. I don't actually know. The only person I know that has a 4K TV is my brother. And that's just because his TV died and he had to get one. And he was like, well, I'm not going to buy 1080 because it's 2017. I'll just, you can barely even find 1080p TVs now. But no one's rushing out to get a 4K TV. Yeah, no one's
replacing their TVs.
So, and I read a stat that only 10% of people have 4K TVs right now. So you could argue that like their market with the $700 console is just for that 10%, so it's not going to work out for them. It does make the older games and the 1080p games look better, but not like crazy amounts. Like you could put them side by side and walk by the TVs and not notice. You'd have to stop and go, oh yeah, okay, I can see that's a little bit smoother or whatever, you know. So $700. This is the thing. Sony have this PlayStation Pro, which is $450. The smart thing for them to do would be in November, because that's when the Xbox One X comes out. They just lower their console for $50, $75, and it's like, boom, there's another slap in the face. So
why did they not rename the damn console?
They should have renamed it to something like, I like the whole Sony naming. Pro. Okay, it's a Pro console. This one, it's just like, if you were to say to someone, do you want like you're on the phone with them, and you're like, do you want the Xbox One X, or do you want the Xbox One S? You'd have to ask, like, what's the difference? Yeah. Whereas if you say to someone, do you want the PlayStation 4 or do you want the Pro? Immediately you're going to know, oh, the Pro must have more RAM or something, you know? So that's already confusing for people.
Yeah,
and
then
the price
Ultra.
And the price difference, it's like 350 price difference between the two.
So you could buy two PlayStations.
But they all play the same games, like as in the Xbox One S plays all of the Xbox One X games. So the only reason why you're spending $700 is so that it looks good on a 4K TV. So
does it look good? Like, is it really like a step up? Like, have they
kind
of positioned it so that in a year's time or 2 years' time it'll be the standard, or is it just like it's a little better?
No, it's really, really impressive for a console. It's got like faster hard drive, it's got faster CPU, memory, everything. It's actually smaller than the Xbox One S as well. It's the smallest Xbox. So it's like, it looks the business. It is the business. The only thing is, it's down to the developers. It's down to, say, like, if you and I are making a game and we're like, okay, we're going to bring it out on the PlayStation, we're going to bring it out on the Xbox and the Switch, and then suddenly Xbox go, oh, have you made it work for this new console? Like, have you made it look amazing? And we're like, well, that's going to cost us like this developer hours to really, make sure we're using your console right and stuff. We kind of want to bring the game out in November, you know, and like if we have to make it look amazing on your console, that's going to be another 2 months you're going to delay our game and stuff like that. So, however, if the tools are easy to do that, and they don't have to do a lot of work, it could work out really nicely for them, because then it's like Assassin's Creed, you know, on PlayStation 4 it's like 1080p, but on Xbox it's 4K, and it's like that was easy for us to implement. So if they can do things like that, that will set them aside, because then people in like EB Games, if they could see, oh, that does look quite a lot better, you know. But I'm not sure if it's going to work out like that for them. I think it might be more smaller results. It might be like, hey, his cape's gonna flap in the wind a little bit more. Like, I'm serious, man. It's like, and then there's 3 more clouds and some birds. give us your 700. So,
did they bring out a game then? Do they have a new game that they said this is the one?
This is the only one. This is the other downside to them, unfortunately, is they showed off Forza Motorsport 7. It looked amazing. It was 4K, 60 frames a second. It was incredible. And it was running on the console and everything. But the takeaways from it was, I can get it on Windows because it's coming out on Windows, and you can just get it on the Xbox One S. It's just not 4K. It's still 60 frames a second. It's just not 4K. So you can, like, they kind of spoil, you know, the reason for buying the console. It's like, oh, this looks great. Oh, I can play it on my current one? Well, I don't need to upgrade then, you know?
Yeah.
Unless you're an enthusiast and you've got the 4K TV and you're like, I've got to have the best. And there are lots of people out there like that, but there aren't, you know, millions and millions out there like that. So,
well, I guess then the other thing then is VR, because, you know, we're the VR podcast, I guess. Is it connected for VR? Like, the point of having 4K then is then you have 2K visions.
They didn't mention that, and I think what they're doing is they're waiting to see how VR pans out, because it's still kind of early. So I think if in the next year or two, like if PlayStation VR, they're seeing if that dies or not. And if it dies, then it's like, oh, you've made that mistake, Sony, and you spent a lot of money on that mistake. But if it comes through, then Xbox are going to be like in partnership with Oculus, because they've been in partnership with them before. And then they'll have this
Microsoft on them, don't they?
And then they'll have like a really powerful system for it. So
interesting.
But, yeah. So
it seems like Xbox are going more long term.
I think so. Yeah. But then it's difficult. And then I like that all their games are on Windows, because I have a Windows computer. But it kind of puts down the Xbox console itself, because there's a lot of other people with, you know, Windows machines, and there's people like we were talking about in a tech talk where they're building these pro machines. But hey, if I can play Halo on that machine, there's no need for me to buy an Xbox now.
Yeah, you know? Exactly. You're kind of competing against yourself.
Yeah, so it's a good thing and a bad thing. But the one thing that they did announce, which I thought was pretty awesome, is they're going to be bringing original Xbox games to the Xbox One system. So the cool thing about this is, like, so there's only ever been 3 Xboxes: the Xbox One, the Xbox 360, the Xbox 360, and then the Xbox One. So you're going to be able to play pretty much every single game they've ever brought out soon. Like when they're slowly bringing out all the games that you can play. But I think that's pretty awesome that you're able to play any single game on all those systems. Whereas you've got a PlayStation 4, you can't play PlayStation 1, 2, or 3 games on that. You can only play like a few of them here or there.
Yeah, that's true. That could be a selling point, I guess.
Yeah. Can you imagine playing like Tony Hawk's Skateboarder 2 on the Xbox that came out in 1998 or something? It's like, that's kind of cool that you are able to play it at least.
Yeah, they're playing that loyalty market card. That's pretty smart.
Yeah, I like that, and they're actually got some good pricing for it as well. It's not like through the roof pricing or anything. So that was cool.
They're not doing a Nintendo. Oh, you want to play Mario again? Well, here's another $40, please. You son of a bitch.
Goodness me. Oh yeah, that Street Fighter just went down the shitter. Like, it reviewed so badly, and it was there's a gaming site out there called Eurogamer. I like read their articles a lot. The guy hated the game. He goes, I absolutely hate reviewing this Street Fighter game because of the price, solely on the price.
Right.
He's like, I'm on the Xbox store right now, and it is $2.99. I'm on the Switch store, and it's $49.99.
Oh my god!
And it's pretty much the same game, and they just had to it's just ridiculous. And just reading his review, he was so annoyed with it. But Nintendo had a pretty good showing. Have you heard of the game Rocket League?
I have not.
Rocket League's a really popular indie game that came out last year, and your cars, it's basically football and cars. So you've got to knock the ball with your car into the goal, and there's like 3 against 3. But with the cars, you can like drive up the wall and stuff. It was just super popular. It's like millions and millions of players. Still is really popular. So they announced that for the Switch, which is quite big news. They announced a Pokemon and Metroid game for next year. So that's also, they're just teasers, but it's cool. Like, everyone loves Pokemon. We know how popular that was on the mobile. And then Metroid. Everyone loves Metroid. And a lot of people have been waiting for a new one. So those are pretty cool teasers. So it lets people know, hey, there's going to be some games in 2018 to play. And then the big one they did was that Mario game, that Mario Odyssey. So it looks like Mario 64, which is awesome, because I think that's what everyone wants. The thing I just can't get over is they've put him in a human world, so he's running around with human beings. And I always see Mario in his own little cute mushroom world, you know? And, like, fighting Bowser and like, why is he running around with human beings? Like, what the fuck's going on? So
he's supposed to be a human being.
I think they've been smoking some of the good stuff. But I've got faith in Nintendo, and obviously Mario is their flagship guy. So I think that's going to be a pretty awesome game. And that is out in November. So that's going to be sweet. That's going to be like fighting like the Xbox systems and the Call of Duties and the Battlefronts. But it's going to do well, because like as soon as you see Mario, a new Mario game, and everyone loves Mario 64. And if like the reviews are saying this is like Mario 64, it's gonna do really well for the system. The only thing Nintendo need to do is they need to keep the games coming, because sure, they've teased this Pokemon and Metroid, but what else is there? You know, like they mentioned like a Captain Toad game and a Yoshi game, but I can't help but they're just like kind of pumping out the same shit. Just like, oh, we've played a side-scrolling Yoshi game. We've played that before.
It's like the Hollywood system. They're just rebranding, rebooting, making sequels, reimagining. It's like people need a new game.
Yeah,
don't give me Assassin's Creed 5. I don't care.
Well, that's the other interesting thing is EA with FIFA. So FIFA on the Switch is not using the same engine. So it uses the Battlefield engine. They're downgrading it to like some other engine. So it's going to look like the Xbox 360 version. So that's kind of shitty. But at the same time, it's still pretty awesome to play an Xbox like 360 type game, which still looks pretty good on the go, like you're on the train, you know, and you're able to play that. So we'll have to see how that pans out, but I think a lot of people are expecting it to be like up there of the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One type of FIFA, but they're like, no, unfortunately we had to dumb it down and stuff. So we'll have to wait and see. But FIFA is always a big seller on all consoles, and if you can play FIFA on the train on this big screen against someone else, then it looks pretty awesome. It could do well. So
it could be a good selling point, yeah.
It could be.
It could go down that route of like the Pokemon Go. Like if you can get more of a community vibe to your games, that might be a way of Nintendo hooking more people into getting that Switch.
Totally.
Because they sure shit aren't doing it with the amount of games they're releasing.
Take it off the shelves. Take it off the shelves. Switch. And then lastly, just Sony. I'm a big Sony fanboy, but they didn't really do too well. They showed off lots of little games here and there. They showed off God of War, which was great. I knew we were expecting that one.
Remake, sequel. Actually, there is one remake I know that they released. New one. I saw because it got a bit of attention.
Shadow of the Colossus. Yeah, I got that one. That's a huge game for the PlayStation 3. So that no one was expecting that. That was a well hidden secret. So when that was shown off, there was a lot of happy people. Which was sweet. And then the other good thing, even though I don't have PlayStation VR, they showed off like 5 or 6 PlayStation VR games on the main stage, which was really impressive. So it's good to see them backing it, because there's people out there who have spent $600 on a headset, and if they've been known to back out on their like hardware, because they've got like this little Vita console, which is like a mobile console, and that came out. As soon as it came out, it didn't do too well, and like 2 years later, they stopped showing it at conferences, and everyone's like, "Whoa, we just spent $300 on this thing, and you're not even showing it off anymore." So, a lot of people were fearing that they were going to do
Shut up!
VR. So,
Shut up! All right, we'll kill you. We've enough money. We can kill all of you. We're Sony.
Exactly. Well, gotcha. So they showed off some good games, and then they showed off like lots of other little games here and there, and they ended on Spider-Man, which looked phenomenal. Like it looked really, really good. Right. So
now I haven't played a Spider-Man game since I think it was PlayStation 2.
Oh, really?
And that was the one that had the amazing system of web swinging. It was just the most intuitive thing. You could just hit, like, it didn't make any sense because you'd swing from things that weren't there and you couldn't see them. But it just got you around the city. And once you got into like the rhythm and the groove, and you know, they must have copied that. Like everyone copies Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
But ever since they made that Spider-Man game, I think every other Spider-Man game since then, they kind of did something new.
Totally.
And everyone's like, just do the one that worked.
I know. They are copying that exact system. This is the good thing, though, because I know you and I, with the movie, we're like, Sony, what are you doing? It's not Sony. They've farmed it out to a team called Insomniac, and they've done a lot of really good games on the PlayStation. So it's in really good hands, which is great. It's just Sony doing their branding shite.
Yeah.
They'll probably promote shit out of the game just like they are with Homecoming, but I'm glad they're not actually making the game like internal team.
When's it coming out then?
So it's not until 2018, but I think they said it was early 2018, so it could be like a February game. Basically the same.
And that's an exclusive, isn't it?
Oh, that's exclusive. Yeah. That's going to be.
See, now that tips at the PlayStation again. I'm like, I don't know if I want an Xbox now. I like Spider-Man.
It looked really, really good. So hopefully they come through. But overall, just to go back on the E3 predictions, I did predict that the Xbox was going to be $499. And it was. I predicted that they were going to show off God of War, which I got right. I didn't get Nintendo right. I thought they were going to show off Smash Brothers, but they didn't. Instead, they did Pokemon and Metroid. And in EA, we kind of knew that it was going to be Battlefront 2 and stuff. But I was kind of happy about the $499. I'm like, yeah, I got that right. But at the same time, I'm like, I want Microsoft to do well. I just think that's too high. But they've done it in the past, and they might just lower the price. Like after 6 months, they might be like, oh, we're getting hammered here. Like, we need to lower the price. So, we'll see. But,
well, that's pretty good. Good job on the predictions. My prediction didn't come through. I predicted that the chairman of Sony would drive a truck through the Microsoft crowd, but that didn't happen. just throwing out PlayStations and be like, here, PlayStation's for everybody. They're so much cheaper than your Xbox.
That's one thing to note, actually. They did a really good job on... Sony, did a really good job on their presentation. So whenever they presented a game, they showed it off. But in the studio, where everyone was sitting, they had like a live set going. So if there was ever water going, they'd have a waterfall like in the studio. And if there were flames, they'd get like flames to be going around. And then there was this one game where there were like these dead bodies in the game just hanging from the ceiling, and then they had these actors just hanging from rope in the main hall. So, and then all
this
the
what
lights
happens
and
if you bring up that stupid console that we will not mention. You mean the Viva? Yeah. Shut up, you're dead. Hang him from the roof.
Yeah, exactly. Hang him. But they did a good job. Like, I mean, because everyone there have been waiting hours to come in and stuff. So it kind of elevates their presentation a bit to the next level. And they always play like live music and stuff. They've got like a live orchestra that plays along with all the things.
Here's a quick thing. Is it a bit weird that now we have so many of these damn conferences? Like, that's the way you have to release games and shit now.
Well, this is kind of funny, actually, because I know that you love Red Dead Redemption and Rockstar. And Rockstar are so big, they don't ever go to these conferences because they don't give a fuck. Because they're like, oh, we'll just announce the game whenever we want. So I feel like E3 is just like, it's good for business. It's good for the industry. But... like PlayStation are even branching off and they're doing their own one. So every Christmas they do PlayStation Experience, and I think it's going to go down that way. I reckon another few more years of E3, and I think everyone's going to have their own. Like Xbox will have like Xbox Reveal like every June, but I'm not sure if they'll all be together.
I'm guessing this whole thing started after Apple started doing their Apple things, right?
It started around the same time because they've actually Apple's been going for a long time. But the E3, I'm not sure how long it's been going for, but it's been going for about like 15 to 20 years for quite a while.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like everybody just decided you got to be Steve Jobs in it. You can't.
I know.
You can't just release something. No, you got to have a big stage and some guy walking around telling you how crap your old computer is that you bought 6 months ago.
I know, but it generates hype and people love it. And I have to admit, like I love tuning into them as well. But when you get a shitty conference, you're just really
gutted. That's what I mean. You're just like. we're expecting like these great conferences from like these guys who spend 20 hours a day programming machines. And
I know. Like, and this is the tough part as well. Is like they're trying to finish the game, and you know that someone comes into their office in like May or April and goes, "We need a trailer for E3." Yeah. They're like, "Fuck the trailer. We're trying to finish the game."
Yeah.
And then you need a team just to make that trailer, or we need people to play the game. So, that you have to make a demo, and it's not easy to make your own little contained demo while you're trying to make the real game. So you have to set off and make take 10 people off your development team to make a demo for E3. But you can argue that if your game is at E3 and it's reviewing really well and people are playing it, it's going to generate even more buzz.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, it's just weird. That's our culture now of like panels and Comic-Cons and E3s.
Oh
and,
yeah. I never used to be into the Comic-Con stuff, but now I really enjoy even watching. I don't watch those live as much. I usually watch the highlights on YouTube, but I enjoy actually looking at them, like especially that Guardians of the Galaxy one.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to see somebody do something a little new.
Yeah, I think it will happen eventually, but it's like one of those things. It's like we're waiting for Apple to innovate a little bit, and it's as soon as that happens, I guess everyone else will follow, but. Yeah.
$17,000 Xbox coming next year.
Yeah. In Chrome Black.
All right. So, what are you most excited for then? Not much, I guess. Just Battlefield.
I'm excited for the new Battlefront. I'm excited to see the new Mario game, even though I haven't got a Switch. I'm still not interested in a Switch, but I'm excited to see the Mario stuff. And then God of War got me very interested, but I don't think that's till 2018. So, honestly, I think. This Christmas it's going to be Battlefront 2, probably the new Call of Duty, seeing what that's like, and hopefully like maybe Doom VR and a couple of VR things.
Well, when we have our all-night Battlefront 2, as we prepare for the new Star Wars movie, I'm going to make a prediction that if I can get into a ship, even if we're on the same team, I'm crashing the ship into you.
Give it a go.
I just want to see it happen.
Yeah.
Just dive bomb with an X-Wing right into the back of your head.
And we should try the Our Way Out, that cooperative EA game as well.
Yeah,
see if we can get
that'd
out
be
of
pretty
prison.
cool.
So,
if not, there'll be no podcast next week.
Exactly.
We're still on the game. Stuck. We can't get out of it.
That'd be hilarious. Delayed because of the game. It's like we're still in prison. Hey guys, thanks for listening. If you like what you heard, click the subscribe button.
Yeah, and as always, you can check out the full episode on iTunes, or here it's going to be posted usually every weekend. Thanks for listening.
Oh yeah.